Service Building. We'll follow the agenda, and I've asked Supervisor Paul David to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Paul. Hope everybody's recovered from their Thanksgiving dinner and everybody had a nice Thanksgiving and had a lot to be thankful for. So it's that time of year that we get into the season and thankful for what we got and thankful for the holiday coming up, Christmas, and hope we all celebrate it the right way and with our open hearts and enjoy the holiday season. So thank you all for coming. First thing on our first item on our agenda would approve the minutes of the regular meeting and work session held on November 18th, 2024.
Chairman Howard, I move that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting and work session of November 18th, 2024.
I'll second Supervisor David's motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. It's unanimous. Then next item is the approval of demands and handwritten warrants.
I'll make a motion that we approve the demands and handwritten warrants.
And I'll go ahead and second Vice Chairman Johns.
Need to go
Mac,
to
Vice Chairman Max, thank you. What a morning. His motion.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Make that unanimous. First we have up Mr. Herman Andrews of probation.
Good morning, gentlemen and ladies. I am here to ask for acceptance of an $80,000 United Way grant to purchase digital radios for probation. And in that grant, we've been approved for $80,000, and we want to spend unbudgeted capital $84,000. So we would be adding $4,000 to the $80,000 that they gave us to get 11 radios.
Yeah, that's quite a good trade there, $4,000 for $84,000 worth of equipment. So we always accept the grants and happy that you guys work hard to get them grants and appreciate United Way for their participation in Graham County, all they do for us. Any other comments or discussion on this?
Just for officer safety and clear communications, and when you're in harm's way, and that's critical, and we're pleased. And a 5% match is what more could you want?
Yeah.
Early Christmas present. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we go ahead and approve. I'm going to combine these two items. Approve the $80,000 United Way grant.
Mr. Chairman, we have to vote on them separate.
Separately.
Sorry about
That's what I
that.
thought.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do
Okay.
the motion on that.
Well, I'll do the first motion then.
Okay.
That we accept the $80,000 United Way grant for digital radios for probation.
I'll second Supervisor David's motion.
We need to take a vote on that. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed, none. Okay, the second one would be, we just need to go ahead and make a motion on this, correct?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the unbudgeted capital not to exceed $84,000 to purchase 11 digital radios.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. None opposed. Passed unanimous.
Thank you, guys.
Next up, we have Michael Bryce, Planning and Zoning and Engineering.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dustin. Items on the agenda are the approval of IGAs with Arizona Department of Transportation for railroad improvements. The first one is for Monteers Lane, and these IGAs have come through, and we always make some comment on them through our county attorney, and they take some of those comments, and some of them they don't take. But anyway, this will provide for a concrete crossing and signal arms for that crossing.
Comments, discussion on that from anybody?
It's funded through Section 130, which will be, they'll pay 100%, no cost to the county.
Okay, thank you.
So if I understand right, they're gonna put crossing arms on Monteith at the railroad tracks?
That's what they're saying, yes.
Very good. Well, this one and the other, $1.2 million each. You know, we had, someone had discussed at one point the possibility of closing Monteith, that intersection, and with a $1.2 million investment, I don't think that will ever be closed. So, and I'm pleased that it'll add to the safety. You just, as our train traffic increases, you just you know, might get concerned about the queues for a stop railroad, but they're going to be stopping anyway, whether it's signalized or not. So, but it's great that federal funds are available for those, as well as the Black Rock Road in Fort Thomas. That with a blind curve there approaching, that's even more important. So, it's good. Thank you. I'm in favor.
Did we get a motion?
I'll go ahead and move that we go ahead and approve the IGA with ADOT for the Monteith Lane Rail Safety Highway Improvement Project.
I'll second Supervisor David's motion.
All in favor, get a vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous.
And the second item is the same type of improvement for the Black Rock Road crossing.
Same deal.
Same thing.
Any comments or on this one? Get a motion, please.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the IGA with Arizona Department of Transportation for the rail highway safety improvements at Black Rock Road.
And I'll second Vice Chairman Mack's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Me, I as well.
Okay, the next item is to accept a quitclaim deed from Jack and Beverly Willie for a right-of-way on High Mesa Road. There was a portion of the right-of-way on High Mesa Road that I don't know whether it never got recorded or what, but it ended up still being in the Willie's name, and he noticed that they were paying taxes on it and came in and said, we'd like to make sure that this came off our taxes, and gave us a signed quitclaim deed for this property, so we need to accept it.
It's always good to get right away. It makes our life easier on instances. Do we have any comments or on this one? Motion?
Move to approve the quitclaim deed, accepting the quitclaim deed from Jack and Beverly Wiley.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. It passes unanimously. Next, we have Hannah Duderstadt up, our election official.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm here to ask the board's approval to appoint precinct committeemen. This is for the Republican Party, and we have a couple of seats still available. Precinct 3, Safford, it currently has 4 seats available, and then Precinct 7, which is in Thatcher, still has 3 seats available. So Michelle Wilson and Terry Laughlin are eligible for appointment in their respective precincts. So I bring this before the board.
Any comments or questions for Hannah? Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to appoint precinct committeeman.
I'll think of the name here. What were the names again?
It's Michelle Wilson and
Michelle
Terry
Wilson.
Laughlin.
Terry Laughlin, okay. I'll go ahead and, that was part of the motion. I'll go ahead and, and second Vice Chairman Mack's motion.
Thank you.
Get a vote on that, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye as well.
Thank you.
Passes unanimous. Thank you, Hannah. Next up, we have Julie Rodriguez, Financing, Accounting.
Good morning.
Morning.
I come before you today to request approval of an accounting services consultant contract with Jennifer St. John for January 27th of 25 through 7/11 of 25. Jennifer will be retiring on January 3rd, and we're still working on a couple of the projects that she started. We've come a long way, and we never would have got this far without her, but she'd like to see them through to the end, and we would also really appreciate her helping to train our new deputy CFO who starts on December 30th.
I just want to thank Jennifer. Since she's come into this office, it's made Julie's life a lot more pleasant, and the work she's done has been tremendous. So I just want to really take my hat off to her and thank her very much for her work and services. And you're also fun in the office and good smiley face all the time. So we really appreciate you. Any other comments on this or questions?
I agree with John. You've been a great asset to our county. Thank you for your time here.
3 thumbs up. I'll go ahead and make the motion that we approve the request for a consultant that Beverly, or Jennifer St. John be a accounting service consultant for from January to July of this next year.
I'll second the motion.
We have a vote on that, please. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie. This time in our board meeting where we all get a chance to give a brief report on what we've been doing, and we'll start off first with our county manager, Mr. Dustin Welker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. We'll have a work session afterwards, so I won't go into some of those projects, but I did want to report on one financial item. Almost 4 years ago, we started down the road to tackle really the only debt that the county had, which was the unfunded liability with the retirement systems that the county is responsible for. Back then, we received some CARES Act money around 2020, 2021, and with that CARES Act money, of the $4 million debt that we had in the retirement system, we used $2 million of that. And then from there, we made a goal to budget monies each year to get that down further and hopefully to zero. Well, this time each year we get a report from the Arizona State Retirement System to see what our accrued liability is, and we were very happy to see that $4 million debt on the deputy side go down to basically a negative number. So I just wanted to thank the board. Our strategy did work. We had another $600,000 budgeted this year to pay down if we needed to, and we haven't spent that amount. We were waiting for this report to come out. So we won't need to use those funds to further pay that down. We'll need to continue to be diligent with it, watching it, and making sure we're in a good place. We still do have in corrections, that unfunded liability is at $315,000. So that'll be the next one that we look at and make another plan for to pay that down. Our dispatchers liability is at $32,000, which is a really good spot too. A lot of these are really hard to predict. Well, they're all hard to predict year in and year out. But I just wanted to report that we're in a very good spot, much better spot than we were 4 years ago, and want to thank the board for supporting us as we came up with a plan to pay down again that that one debt that the county really had. So appreciate the board's support on that. Again, a lot of things to report on in highway and parks and everything, and we'll have plenty of time in our work session today to do that. So that's my report for today, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dustin. Next we have Vice Chairman Mack. You have anything to report on?
I don't have anything today, sir.
Okay. Supervisor David.
Thanks. Over the last couple of weeks with the holidays, I've attended a number of meetings and community events, and that will be my report.
Yeah, I'll be real brief too. We had the Mary Main Street this last weekend, and it was very successful. I was glad to see so many people came out and kick off the holiday season. I've been kind of stagnant the last couple of weeks with some personal problems, but life goes on. So that's all I have to talk about on that. So at this time, we will close this regular session of this meeting and open a public hearing for the P&Z items.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Our first public hearing is REZ number 915-24, parcel 107-15-074. This is a little less than an acre and a half, and the request is made to rezone from residential site built to multifamily residential for the purpose of building one single 2-unit duplex. Applicant is Philip Palmer, and he is here to speak to this, but before he does, I'll give you, this went to planning and zoning, had more neighbors here then than there are now, and they, the commission voted for, okay, this is a negative, double negative, but 4 voted in favor of a negative outcome. Okay, so the motion was to send you a non-favorable recommendation, and 4 voted in favor of that and 2 against. 1 abstained as he's a neighbor, and the chairman did not vote in case of a tie. He would have been the tiebreaker. So the commission voted 4-2 to send you a negative recommendation on this. This is next door to one you guys voted on 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. And this would allow him, if you pass this, to put 2 side-by-side duplexes in that neighborhood. And he has already recorded a deed restriction to that effect, that only 1 duplex could go on that parcel. But I'll let Philip come up and tell you what his plan is.
Steve, before we go any further, and everybody out there, I need to recuse myself off this item, so Vice Chairman Mack will handle this.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, board. So just to be clear, he talked about 2 side-by-side duplexes, just to make sure everyone understands. That would be if I do a duplex on each of the parcels, it would just be 1 on each. But if I even go that route or want to, I just want to say before we even get started that the only reason I'm even here for the second time is because I thought we were taking care of this the last time. It was my understanding that we were talking of 2 parcels last time, because that's what went through the planning and zoning the first time. I don't want to say went through as if it was a favorable recommendation, but that's what was discussed. By the time it got here, it was I think an error in which application they grabbed, but regardless, then it was just 1. But anyway, so that's what I'm here for. Like we said, when you guys approved the last one, you asked that we do a deed restriction. I did that as I promised, and not only did one on the one that we did, knowing at the time that only 1 was approved, I went ahead and just put a deed restriction on both parcels. So no matter what the vote is today, those deed restrictions say that nothing more than 2-unit residential can be on there. Anyway, maybe I can rebuttal after or answer questions or after neighbors talk.
Okay.
Thank you. No, go ahead. Just thanking Philip.
So we have a couple people that would like to speak on this. Mr. Stephen Miller.
Morning, I'm Stephen Miller, a resident in the Branding Iron neighborhood. I'm here to voice my opposition to the proposed zoning change for single-family residential to multifamily residential in the Branding Iron Lane area. As an affected homeowner, I believe this proposed change could have significant negative consequences for our neighborhood. Allowing more multifamily homes would fundamentally alter the character and nature of our neighborhood. The neighborhood is primarily made up of single-family homes, and we value its quiet, family-friendly environment. Introducing more multifamily developments would increase population density, higher traffic volumes on an already substandard road, and strain the existing water system, which has substandard pressure to run common appliances. There have been at least 6 additional meters added since I added mine about 12 years ago, and was told at that time there would only be 2 more meters allowed without a pressure boosting station. There is no pressure boosting station as of yet, and that's a lot of extra meters that have been added to the system. This zoning change will reduce property values for the current homeowners in the surrounding area. Many of us chose to live in this neighborhood because of its single-family residential zoning, which encourages a stable, peaceful atmosphere. The shift to multifamily housing will bring a more temporary type resident with no sense of ownership and investment in the community. While I acknowledge the need for additional housing in the area, I feel that our semi-rural neighborhood should remain single-family homes. I don't believe that multifamily zoning is the appropriate solution for this neighborhood. I urge the Commission to consider these concerns and deny this request for a zoning change. Mr. Palmer has had 1 lot rezoned over the concerns of affected residents and recommendation to deny by the commissioners. I believe that preserving the character of our neighborhood as a single-family residential area is in the best interest of all residents and will help to maintain the quality of life that we all value. As an addition, on the first go-around here, we had 5 residents that appeared and spoke, with others in attendance who chose not to speak, that were in opposition. We didn't know that it was required to attend this meeting with the county supervisors, also in order to show that we cared about the outcome of this request. I assure you that we do care, and I hope that you take this into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Next, we have Mick Reese.
Good morning, gentlemen. I come before you as resident of the Branding Iron residence area. Both my neighbors are going to have a lot of comments to say about this, and I support both of them very much. Things that I wanted to share was there is a vision in the community in the valley that we need more housing. We understand that. And there's very few, very limited areas where we can do this. But up in the Branding Iron area, as my neighbor was saying, the parcels are small. It's backed up against the dump. It's backed up against the BLM. And to put another duplex up there is just going to cause another pressure and negativity on the infrastructure within the area, especially the roads, and in particular the water, as my neighbors spoke about. So without the city or the county actually taking a head on improving those measures, I don't think that it's right to have another duplex that's going to put much more strain on that. Yes, there could be a couple of houses put in there, but a couple of households are a lot better than 4 more households. And then of course you get the whole renter issues where the owners aren't there to watch what's going on with the houses, and they're on their own to do what they want without anything coming back against them. And it's us, the neighbors, that actually have properties up there that our values will lessen because of things like that. So I hope, again, the board will consider this a negative response. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. Mr. Brian Burr.
Morning, I'm Brian Brewer. I also live out there on the Branding Iron. I'll just kind of summarize what I said last time. All of my concerns regarding infrastructure and safety still stand. We have a single poorly maintained, well-traveled road that is in the process of being washed out. Children walk this road to and from the bus stop, which that's unacceptable. It's a winding road that is barely even 2 lanes. It has no shoulders for children to walk on. In addition to the safety concerns, the proposed development will impact home values in what for many of us is our forever home. We also have an extremely poor water pressure. We have extremely poor water pressure, which will only worsen with the further development. Our dishwashers barely work, and you can forget having a sprinkler system to water your plants. As it stands, we can't support this level of growth being proposed. And then, yeah, and maybe I don't understand how this works, but last time we did this, it was passed on from the zoning commission with a negative recommendation, and it was still passed through you guys, so I'd like some explanation on that. That's it.
Supervisor David?
Sure. Wanted to ask Mr. Pouzis, is that road, is that a county road? Okay, so it's poorly maintained, but it's the responsibility of the homeowners to maintain it, is that correct? Are you talking about the road up to the branding iron, or are you talking about the dirt roads? Yes. Okay, that's the one, okay. And
That road was built by the city of Safford, and it is their road. When Branding Iron went in, they annexed that section, annexed Branding Iron, and they built that road to the Branding Iron, and they're the ones that have been maintaining it.
Very good. Well, I just
So
wanted
if there's
to,
questions about that road, it's the city of Safford.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't falling down and on a response, and so that sounds like it's that and the water pressure is we can control volumes, but that those are not our systems. Okay. My just as last time we were dealing with individual property rights, need for additional housing, but also the character, and that's when the zoning comes in, and it gets to be a little subjective. But my I agree that a high density area, especially where you've got a lot of dust being generated by the dirt roads, and you've already got existing water problems that aren't being at least are maybe in planning, but aren't being currently addressed as far as I know. And I guess I could ask Steve McGoy, is that something that's on the capital improvement project plan for the city?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thanks. So, but
It's on the let's try to ignore it list, I think.
Gotcha.
It's in the county, but we did build it, so.
Okay. My hesitation on this is the last approved, for Brian, the last time we approved, it was a duplex on 2 acres, and there was an option. You could have split. You could have put a house on each acre, so the equivalent of a duplex on 2 acres or 2 houses on 1 acre. To me, that was a wash, and I was able to agree with that. But on this 1.4 acre parcel, I'm concerned that we are going with the density is too high, and that's a subjective call. If it was a 2 acre parcel, then I would feel the same way I did about the earlier decision that we made, the equivalent density. But that's my concern, and the reason I've got an objection is just the density. As you increase the density, if one in a fraction, then that would set a precedent for a density of greater than 1 residence per acre. So that's the way I feel about it. And if somebody purchased more land and reconfigured existing land so that you had a density of no more than 1 per acre, then I'd be a lot more inclined to do that, to approve it.
Thank you. I agree with Supervisor David. Also, the water is an issue. The road is an issue, and I think until the city figures out what they're going to do with the road and takes responsibility for that, I would also have to object. Did you have something you wanted to add, Mr. Palmer?
I'll help answer your question about how they overturned that. I think it's because there was no opposition from any neighbors here. I can't imagine if there was, they wouldn't have ruled that a little different. That's probably one of their big reasons that I assume they didn't think that you guys had any opposition. I thought that I had appeased everything we had talked about, and I don't mean to speak for them, but I did want to just mention a couple things, and then I got to run anyway, but the water system was pressure tested. Engineers took a look at it. Matter of fact, the Nuttles up there, the one just to the left up there that we built the house and sold to them, I talked to them. They said their water pressure is awesome. So I'm not saying that they're lying. I'm just saying I think it has a lot more to do with smaller pipes or this or that or other things up there than if water can be correctly given to the houses up there, is my opinion. Anyway, it also is interesting to me how none of the neighbors right around me are here in opposition. Matter of fact, I've talked to some of them, and they actually are more in favor of this going forward. But and then the roads impacted, we already talked about that. You've got the city of Safford that may need to look at the one, and the rest of those, you'd be out going, most of everything would not be affecting anyone as they come in different places and stuff. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. I got to run. You guys can vote however you want.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have anything else to add?
No, I'll go ahead and make a motion then, if you don't have anything, Mr. Acting Chairman, that we go ahead and
Go ahead.
Brian Brewer again. I actually spoke to the Nuttles. I visited him at work a couple, like 2 weeks ago. He's on our side with this. I know I can't legally speak for him, but he can't take off work, so like most people can't.
Okay. Go ahead, Supervisor.
Okay,
David.
I'd go ahead and make a motion in this hearing that we go ahead and deny the request to rezone from R-SB residential site built to R-M multifamily residential zone for the duplex.
I'll second Supervisor David's motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion denied for the rezone.
Thank you, Clay. Go ahead, Steve.
Thank you. That brings us to our second hearing, which is a road name request. The applicant is Martin Chavez. Request is to name a private easement. The proposed name is Famous Way, and this is north off of High Mesa Road along the west end of the runway. There's a piece of Emery Road that people have been addressed off of, and they've been using it, but the property owner, there was no easement, and the previous property owner didn't care. It sold. The second property owner wanted to close that down, so Martin owned an easement coming from the south, and he's going to allow 2 people plus himself to use that, and he's right here. This Emery Road does not really go beyond right here. So this person, this is Martin's, and I don't know, there's another one in here that needs to use, and that access will come up this way and will be named Famous Way, if you approve it. That's named after his second favorite dog because we wouldn't allow the name of his first favorite dog.
And I'm, what kind of recommendation we got from planning and zoning? Favorable, I'm sure.
Unanimous. No, this doesn't go to them.
It doesn't go that way?
No, it's all on you.
Okay, I
If you
got
do
you.
it wrong, it's on you.
Okay, all right. Any comments? Anybody here speak on this? I don't think
Yeah,
so.
Mr. Chairman, I just had a question on Emery Road. Is that under consideration for changing because we've got don't we have an Emery Road to the west of in the Fort Thomas Black, you know, the Geronimo area. Anyway, if you'll look into it.
That's part of a platted subdivision, so.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Very good.
I don't know what the process for that would be, but.
Not on our agenda, just trying to eliminate confusion. But I think, you know, if we've got a little Hollywood road, that we need to have a Famous Way road, so.
So if I understand right, nobody else is gonna have to change their street name or address, correct?
Right. It's just giving these people a legal access that they did not have and taking away their being able to come in from Emory.
Okay.
There will be 3 address changes, but they all want it, so.
Okay.
Get a motion on this?
I'll go ahead and make a motion for the name request for Mr. Chavez, to change the proposed road name to Famous Way.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, sorry.
And I also say aye. Passes.
Thank you. Our next rezone is rezone 914, parcel 10607-015 T as in Tom. It's a 2.5 acre parcel inside a AR 2 acre minimum zoning. The applicant, Cheryl Wall, would like to rezone to AR 1 acre minimum, for the purpose of bringing a friend to live next door to her, mutually beneficial to both of them. That has happened 2 other times in that same neighborhood. I believe these 2 parcels were once one, and then there's another one over here. Those are both happened in the last 2 years. You guys have approved that, going from AR2 to AR1, and Mrs. Wall would like the same for her. She's here if she'd like to speak, or if you've got questions. And if I've failed to properly present that, she can tell me I'm backwards.
Ms. Walls, do you have anything to like to say to us? Is there anything you'd like to say? You're good? Okay. Any questions on this one?
Mr. Chairman, if this was less than 2 acres, then I'd have to treat this request just the same that we treated the last one. I wouldn't have to, but I would need to be consistent. But this is more than 2 acres. We're going to a 1 acre, one residence per acre density. And this is something that's happened in the neighborhood before. We're seeing increased demand for housing, and so I think that's consistent with the way we will see our county grow. So I'd go ahead and I'm in favor of it.
Can I know you didn't ask me, but you did on the last one. City of Safford is in the midst of a capital improvement project bringing water to this neighborhood.
Nice.
Thank you.
Awesome. I agree with Supervisor David.
Get a motion on this one, please.
I'll make a motion to rezone 2.5 acre residential to 1 acre residential for applicant Cheryl Wall.
And I'll go ahead and second Vice Chairman Mack's motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Pass unanimous. Next.
Next is a special use permit. This also received a unanimous favorable recommendation. It's SUP 24-02, parcel number 103-24026. This is the parcel directly north of Graham Shadows Trailer Park and is owned by the partnership that owns the trailer park. They wish to be able to, if needed, place additional septic or laundry facilities on this parcel, but the majority of their reasoning is they sell connexes, they rent connexes, and they would like to make them available to their tenants there. If it were only to those tenants, we would have added it to the parcel and asked for rezoning to RMH and made it a part of the thing, but he wanted to be able to rent to someone outside the park. And so we ran it as a special use permit and kept the parcels separate. And that does make it permanent until somebody asks to change it. Like I said, this got a unanimous favorable objection. One of our commissioners recused himself and then came up and spoke in favor of it. That was Peter Velasquez, who is the property owner to the east. This is probably all I know about it. The other thing is there's already an agreement in place for a 6-foot block wall along the full north end of that property between this and the neighbor to the north.
Comments, questions?
Question again, so it was all but one were opposed to it?
No, it was unanimous.
Oh, unanimous, okay.
There was nobody opposed.
No one opposed.
And we heard nothing from the neighbors at all.
Okay. What, with this special permit, what if he chose to, if the owner, if this was approved, how close to the roadway could he put his sales, his containers or storage units? How close could he? Because currently the residences, if you pan back, then you can see there's kind of I've measured about 50-foot setback from the fronts of buildings, 50 to 60 foot from the fronts of buildings to the edge of pavement. So could he move those and occlude the sight distance from people in those driveways?
If this were not on a center section, our setback would be 20 feet. But because it's on a center section, it's 50 feet. I don't know where that center section is in that road. It's not something that we can...
Because it looks like some of the fence lines are maybe 50 foot from center line, but the actual fronts of the structures are about 50 foot from edge of pavement.
He would have to comply with both, 50 feet from a center section line or 20 feet from his front property line.
Well, even then, it would kind of occlude and would kind of stick out from the rest of the buildings, the sight lines.
Some of the, I mean, he's probably going to want to put them as close as he can because he's selling them, and he wants them, but he wants them to look good and he wants them to be seen. But
it's currently there's still a residential. Well, is that a commercial or is that the car shop to the north? Yeah. What is that, a residence or?
Yeah, that's the residence he made the agreement with to put in the block wall.
Okay. Yep. Since this is a special use, stipulations can be added if it's approved by the board. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'd like to propose for the board's consideration a stipulation that his sales material, that the things he's going to sell, do not project any further than the front of the other building, and that way it doesn't commercialize that whole thing and turn it into a sales lot. It allows the other residences to have sight lines and clear views as they go up and down their drives. But that's otherwise, I think it's reasonable request and would support it with that stipulation.
The reason it came to you this way is that it's 0.6 acres, and to do that on properly zoned would require an acre to get CM zoning. And then plus the fact that he wanted to have the option to extend his septic system or his washroom into it on the east end. Just kind of, but as I remember, and I wish he was here to tell you because he's much better at saying what he knows and thinks than I am, but he's replacing a fence that's here that's 6 foot, I think, to about this tree, and then it will be 3 foot out to the property line. But from there back, it will be 6 foot.
Okay.
And I don't know where 20 feet hits on that house, but.
Well, if Dustin has the ability to pull from the edge of pavement.
Stephen, the owners of that other property building that block wall, that's good. They like that.
Oh, they were ecstatic about it.
Yeah, it proves their property, it proves, yeah.
Correct.
It does it all.
Actually, Dustin, the edge of pavement's subject to interpretation. Why don't you go from the center line of the roadway and use that as to the white, in essence, that distance, yes. How many feet? 88. 88 feet, okay. Thanks. I'll just listen to the rest of the deliberations.
Mr. Mack, you have anything?
I'm okay with it. I agree with Supervisor David, as long as it's not gonna cause a safety issue for people coming and going from the other properties or that property. I'm okay with it.
And the stipulations that Paul requested there basically is you want them to be 50 foot from the center or 50 foot setbacks?
The easiest way to describe it is just 88 foot from the center, or 85 foot from the center line of the highway. Okay. It would be their closest container or shed or whatever they're selling there.
Okay.
Or if it was a car lot, the closest car.
Okay. So we can put that stipulation in there, correct, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I understand, you can.
Okay, perfect. Okay, do we have any other discussion on this, or do you want to make a motion and put the stipulation in the motion?
Okay, thank you. I'll go ahead and move that we approve the request for a special use permit, SUP 24-02 for parcel number 103-24-026, with the stipulation that any buildings or any items for sale not be any closer than 85 foot to the center line of the highway.
I'll second Supervisor David's motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 And as well says aye.
Thank you. Our last item for you today is the review of Grego Star V Park. This went to the commission last go around, and they gave a favorable recommendation to the plan as presented with the exceptions asked for. Those exceptions were in relation to pavement width and pavement timing. Tom is here, and I'll let him explain to you what he wishes to do and how.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this was originally rezoned a few years ago. Finally getting around to getting it wrapped up. 28 RV spaces, basically just north of the state prison out in San Jose, down in a hole so that they don't have to look at the prison, but you're not gonna do a whole lot else out there, so I think it's a good spot for RVs. But the code, written a long, long time ago, basically says you need 32-foot pavement width, which nobody wants to maintain 32 feet of pavement for something as little used as an RV park, and it also says that the surface needs to be dust-free or something. So it doesn't actually say what needs to go down as far as, quote, pavement. So I'm proposing that I put down compacted AB, 32-foot wide, and then sometime in the next 2 years, go ahead and put 24 feet of asphalt over the top of that as a drive lane, but keep the 32-foot overall width to allow for, you know, parking and whatever else. I will have on-lot parking as well. There will be 2 spaces for each RV. There will be 2 vehicle spaces on the same lot, so parking won't be an issue. There will be plenty of off-street parking. So the code says 32 feet wide to allow for on-street parking. There won't be a need for on-street parking, but we'll still hold it 32-foot wide. So those are really the only 2 exceptions from the code. Everything else, I feel like I've addressed. Michael has asked for a drainage memo. I'm providing 10 times the required retention, but I will address whatever technicalities as far as putting that in a memo form that Michael's looking for. Otherwise, I think I've met everything that's been asked of me. So happy to answer any questions if you've got them.
Any questions, Mr. Palmer?
So you're asking to currently do 32 feet of AB, and then you're gonna do a 24-foot asphalt.
Within 2 years is what I'm asking for. And basically that's just so that I can get the park up and running and not have the cash outlay. I would still ask if you don't want to grant that exception, I'd still ask that you go ahead and approve the park, but require the asphalt now. And I would find a way to do it. But if I can delay the asphalt for 2 years, that lets the park get operational. And then, you know, as cash flow starts coming, then we pave the road. And it's a lot of asphalt because of the way that I don't know if y'all have a picture in your packet, but because of the way the entry road comes in, there's a big old long entry road that has to loop all the way around. It's a lot of asphalt for a little teeny park, so I'm kind of hoping to just push those costs a couple years down the road. But again, if you're not in favor of the exceptions, I'd still ask that we go ahead and tell me what you want me to do and get her approved so I can get going on it.
I think that's a reasonable ask to wait a couple years on that to get it going. I understand your logic on that completely.
Thank you.
Oh, any other comments on that?
I agree with Supervisor Howard, and I think it's a great place to put that park, and we definitely have a huge need for it here.
Steve just whispered in my ear, when does 2 years start? In my memo to you, my letter asking for an exception, it says from commencement of operations. So if it takes me 6 months to build it, I would ask that as soon as we start renting a space, that the clock starts ticking. So
that's reasonable as well.
Thank you all.
Yeah, and just one, on your entry, are you going to have more than one entry exit or just one?
It is one. Again, the way this whole thing lays out, if I can walk up here and point to it. This is a pretty good hill coming down off of it.
Yes.
So the entrance road actually come along here.
Okay.
Originally, I thought about coming off of here, but bringing RVs in and out of a 10% grade, a lot of site visibility. Much more aggressive.
Sure. Yep. And just I was just for your users, I'm sure you'll put a large commercial, a large driveway with commercial radiuses.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know if you've been out there recently, but the company that's doing the conveyor belts that has the little strip between me and the prison there, they bring semis in and out all the time. They just put down more asphalt than I've ever seen on a road on Cook Road. I mean, they put in 8 inches of asphalt. So it's a very, very, very heavy section coming to me. So my little RVs are going to do nothing compared to those semis that are coming in and out every day. But essentially, the driveway that serves them is right adjacent to me. So I'll probably end up just extending their driveway, and we'll have about a 50-foot apron right there for them and I to use.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm in favor, Mr. Chairman. I think it's a good opportunity for us to make a reasonable a concession as far as time-wise, after time passes, with the exception of 4-foot shoulders, which would be nice, but that would increase your costs by 30%. And unfortunately, we've got roads without shoulders, so county roads. So, yeah, I'm in favor, Mr. Chairman. I'd go ahead and, if you don't have anything else, and do we have anyone from the public?
No, we don't have
And,
anybody to
okay.
speak on.
Okay, I'd go ahead and if you allow me to make the motion to, for RV Park, APN 107-39-034, that's the parcel of 3 acres. It's Gray Ghost RV Park. And I would go ahead and make the motion that we approve the park review and the plan.
I'll second Supervisor David's motion.
Would you like to have the with the exceptions part in there?
Yes.
I think it would be best.
Thank you for that. I'll accept that friendly amendment. Can you restate that?
With the exceptions as requested.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
And that's for the
2-year.
the 4-foot shoulders, eliminating the 4-foot shoulders and allowing the paving, the hard surface to go in no later than 2 years after the first lot is sold. Okay.
Rented.
Rented, thank you.
I'll second the motion.
It's kind of nice to finally get an RV park that we don't have 500,000 people saying, you know, not in my backyard, so I appreciate that very much. Okay. I will, can we get a vote on this, please? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, and make that unanimous. We'll now close this public hearing and go to call the public. I don't see any, so we will be adjourned. Thank you all.